Welcome back, everybody. It's the end of April, and this is actually my second go at recording a video for my monthly rotation. I actually recorded something yesterday because it was a beautiful day here in Melbourne, a beautiful sunny autumn day. So I decided to film something in an outdoor setting. And when I went to upload it to my computer, I realized that because of the wind noise, the audio was totally unusable. So maybe next time I'll figure something out. But for now, you've got me in my regular space, and I'm going to talk about highlights of April. I want to preface this by saying since about February, when I came back from Milan and Incense, I came back with a ton of samples, and I was determined to, this time around, be quite systematic with the way I tested these samples. So essentially, ever since February, each day I would try a new sample, whether I'd heard about it or not, most of them I had never tried before. A lot of older releases, not very many new releases. I bought a few back from Incense that were quite new, but essentially for each day since February, I've been trying a new fragrance, and now finally, end of April, I've worked my way right through them, and essentially what I'm going to do now is work my way through the list and sort of keep the ones I really enjoyed to wear again and to test again, and eventually, I guess, review. And the ones that didn't work for me after a full wearing on my skin, I'm kind of going to declutter and sort of give them away or do something with them. But for April, there were a couple of highlights. First of all, I'll start off with what I'm wearing today. Today, I'm wearing one of my very favorite fragrances, Grimoire by Anatole Le Breton. In April, there was only one fragrance that I actually wore more than once, and that was from Guerlain. It was Spiritus Double Vanille, and I was actually really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I guess I definitely knew about its reputation. It appears to be one of the very high benchmark vanilla fragrances out on the market. With me, though, when it comes to vanilla-dominant fragrances, I guess I have this sort of preconception that, yeah, vanilla is a nice note, especially part of more complex compositions. But when it's showcased like that in a fragrance such as Spiritus Double Vanille, I guess I'm just more not in a rush to try something like that. But I'm glad I did. I wore it twice in April. It is understandably one of the best vanilla fragrances out there. I really was surprised by the boozy aspect, particularly in the opening. The vanilla is actually so almost 3D and complex and lush, and you don't get sick of it. I didn't find it cloying because it actually developed pretty well on my skin, from that boozy aspect down to that lovely realistic sweetness. There didn't appear to be anything artificial about this fragrance at all. So what I mean by that, I guess, is that it felt like a really natural representation of how you can build a fragrance around one particular note. So Spiritus Double Vanille is one I'm going to be continue to test and wear, and eventually do a review of. Other highlights, there is another fragrance that has been around for a long, long time. In fact, it was first released in 1979 by Hermes. This one is Eau d'Orange Verte, and again, one that has a really good reputation in fragrance circles, and it's taken me this long to finally try it. And I was so impressed by how good of an orange note, first of all, I got in the opening. It is up there with my favorites already, even after testing it once. I guess my orange benchmark is Azemor Les Orangeurs by Parfum d'Empire. Eau d'Orange Vert is right up there. Different fragrances, but as an orange-based citrus cologne style fragrance, that one, orange is that citrus note that always brings a smile to my face. Some fragrances do that, and orange is that particular note that is a happy, uplifting note for me. I differentiate it from other citrus like bergamot and lemon and lime and grapefruit. Orange is the happy citrus as far as I'm concerned. Eau d'Orange Vert is a beautiful orange cologne. However, it being the nature of the style of fragrance that it is, you should not expect long-lasting performance on my skin. I know some people mentioned to me when I talked about it that it disappeared like after half an hour or so. For me, I could still smell it close to my skin after 2 or 3 hours. That's probably a good result from my expectations anyway. So it stops projecting after 20, 30 minutes, where I need to sort of bring it up to my nose to be able to still smell it on my skin. But it is there. I really enjoyed the way it was blended with mint as well. So it gave that really nice cooling effect when I was wearing it. So Eau d'Orange Vert is another highlight. Another fragrance that I wore from Diptyque, again, one that's been out for quite a while, is Dawson Eau de Parfum. I have the Eau de Parfum sample. Now, what I enjoyed about that fragrance was it is one of the few tuberose-based fragrances that I can handle on my skin and enjoyed wearing for the duration. Tuberose is a very fickle note when it comes to my taste and what I'm wearing on my skin. For a long time, every tuberose fragrance I tried, there were things I would like about them, but never any one that really sort of got my attention and that I fully enjoyed wearing. There was always aspects of those fragrances that, I had to, I guess, wait through before I got to the point where it was enjoyable. But Dawson, for the entirety of its wear, was really, really nice. One of my favorite tuberose fragrances. I don't know if it'll end up being something that I'd want to buy eventually, but it certainly is a sample that I want to wear again and keep getting to know. One highlight I really enjoyed in April was from Prada, and again, another fragrance that's been out for a while, another one that gets talked about a lot with high praise, and that is Prada Infusion d'Iris, and this is the Eau de Parfum. I know there's a few different versions, and I'm not really familiar with the variations and what changed and so on, but the one I sampled was the one that you can currently buy, and this iris is a fragrance that I feel showcases iris, but also is really versatile. That I felt like we've been having some quite unseasonably warm weather for this time of the year here in Melbourne, and I wore it on a warm day, and it was just an absolute delight. It is not a heavy iris. There are other notes blended in with it that sort of lift it up to make it light wearing, a little bit ethereal in a way, but not light or weak. It just floats like like a light mist around my skin, and I'm looking forward to wearing it again. And I have to say, of all the samples that I've tried in the last month, that's the closest I feel to maybe getting on my next, on a bottle wish list. I'll make a final decision when I finish the samples, like I always do. Another one that, the last one I want to mention is a new one that I did discover in at Exence in Milan. It's a brand I didn't really know anything about until I was there. It's from Germany. It's Birkholz, and this new release that they've just come out with is called Incense and Fire. And when I tried it there at the fair, I did enjoy it, smelling it on a blotter, but I'm fully aware that in that environment, like smelling a lot of things in a department store, as is the case with a lot of things I've tried at Exence, you never really make a judgment on it until you take it out of that environment, smell it in the space and peace of your own home. And I wore it on skin this time around, really enjoyed it. But there is, I guess, one interesting thing about it is that it did remind me of L'air du désert Marocain from Tower, which I used to own a long time ago. And this is only based on my scent memory of that fragrance. So I no opportunity to do a side-by-side comparison. But if you are a fan of that fragrance, Incense and Fire is definitely one to check out. I don't want to state here and now that it's a copy of it, but definitely in that ballpark. The incense is more pronounced than it is in L'air du désert Marocain, but it is spicy like that fragrance. Dries down to an ambery base, probably not as pronounced as it is in the Tower, but one to look out for. Birkholz, if you can sample them, are definitely a brand worth trying, because the few that I tried there were pretty good, if not interesting. And I guess it's a brand that I never thought about, didn't know anything about before, and it was nice to discover something like that where you might have preconceptions about sort of unknown brands, but until you actually try a few of their fragrances, you never know what you're going to get. And I was pleasantly surprised with Birkholz. That is basically my highlights of April. I didn't really have like many lowlights. Going back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video and trying, like, I think it was in excess of 60 to 70 samples that I've worked my way through since February. The one con of doing that is that I did have to wear a lot of what I consider mediocre fragrances for my nose on my skin. But I guess I offset that by the fact that I usually wear more than one fragrance per day. So I would wear my sample in the morning, sometimes later on in the day. But usually I try to do it in the morning. If it was something that I wasn't enjoying, then I'd wash it off, have a shower, and respray something from my own bottle collection. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of months. I'll keep testing the samples that I liked, but I think I'm going to get to wear a lot more of the bottles that I love as well. In terms of I haven't actually bought a new bottle at all in 2025 so far this year. I have a bottle wish list. I'm trying to be sort of patient, looking for deals and sales on the bottles that I want. And probably the Prada Infusion d'Iris is the one that's closest to being added to that bottle wish list at some point. So I'd love to hear about what you've been trying in the last month in the comments. Let me know if you've tried any of the fragrances that I've mentioned in this video, and I look forward to hearing about all of that. For now, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.